Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, hello, fellow constitutionalists. I don't normally do this right after a live show earlier today, but I had to come on and do this. If you don't already know, there has been a school shooting again down in Santa Fe, Texas. It's just outside of Houston, and it is terrible. There's been 10 people, 1 adult, and 9 students that are killed, more than injured. Some are in critical condition, so we don't know where the tally is going to be on that. We do know some things now, as is habit on the show. I will not be revealing the shooter's name. They are still digging into things. There's a lot of speculation going on as far as what weapons he had. I just watched the news conference of this, and there's been a huge news conference. I wasn't able to tape it. I was still trying to set things up to where I could tape, or actually record, not tape, record the news conference and that. But what we have here is there's a teenager down in outside of Houston at Santa Fe High School in Texas. Killed 10, and there's just it's a mess down there. Now I'm gonna scroll down here. Let me do something here, because I do not want to show the teenager's name. I don't want to do that. And okay, I got her set up here. Let's go over to that, and we'll read on that just a little bit. All right. This story is it's from the Dallas News, posted today. This is ongoing. I've been updating it all afternoon. This is by Claire Baller and Lauren McGowie. So there's, like I said, this is ongoing. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm only going to read down here so far. And then when I have it on the One American News Network, when I see them jump onto the story, I will jip into that, and we'll listen to what they have to say about it. Let them report on that. All right. A 17-year-old gunman wearing a trench coat and armed to the teeth shot several classmates and lobbed pipe bombs Friday morning on his deadly march through a high school outside of Houston. At least 10 people at the Santa Fe High School, most of them students, were killed, and 10 others were wounded, including a school police officer who is in critical condition. Officials said Governor Greg Abbott called the school shooting the nation's deadliest since the 17 people were killed February 14th in Parkland, Florida, was the worst disaster that ever to strike this community. We need to do more than just pray for the victims and their families, Abbott said. It's time in Texas to make sure this tragedy is never repeated. Now, not once during the press conference did I hear any of the officials talk about taking away people's guns, taking away anything else. Now, folks, I just seen it come up on the screen. Let me jip over to that, and we'll get a live listen in on that.
Around 30 miles outside of Houston. Right now, authorities in tactical gear have surrounded the suspect's home and are approaching with caution because a pressure cooker and other explosives have been found by the school.
There have been explosive devices found in the high school and surrounding areas adjacent to the high school. Because of the threat of these explosive items, community members should be on the lookout for any suspicious items and anything that looks out of place. Do not touch any items that look out of place, and immediately call 911.
Meanwhile, 2 others have been detained as possible persons of interest. They and the suspected shooter are believed to be students at that school. Of those 10 injured, 2 students and a school resource officer were shot, while another law enforcement officer was also injured but not shot. President Trump offered his thoughts and prayers to those impacted by the shooting during a press conference earlier today. And Education Secretary Betsy DeVos urges the nation to come together for school safety following that deadly shooting in Texas. In a statement released today, DeVos said her heart is heavy over the incident and stressed no student should have to experience the trauma of such an event. DeVos then called on the nation to unify in order to address the underlying issue that led to these kinds of incidents. She also pointed out the department is prepared to assist local officials and added these types of trends cannot continue. And keep it right here, because still to come on One America News. Two brothers in Arizona are under arrest for allegedly swindling donors out of...
All right, folks. That was the report from One America News Network on the shooter. Like I said, we don't have a lot going on. I'm not going to bore you and stay on here for hours and hours with the live feed coming off of this. But I just want to caution folks. I have a couple. What I've been doing with this daily news as it's been changing. I have been copying down in a Word document and putting that on my computer in a Word document so I can have record of it. It's they're reporting, like I said, the Dallas News is reporting that he was armed with an AR-15 style rifle as well as a shotgun and a pistol. Now the news conference, which they didn't show again, I thought they would show that again, and I'll try to find that again. But the news conference that they had there, Governor Abbott said he only had a shotgun and a pistol and pipe bombs. And there's people already out there in the gun control. You know, obviously they're going to come out of the woodwork here and say we need to take away the guns. What about bomb control? Now, I'm not being tongue-in-cheek in here. A pipe bomb, if it's properly made, could probably kill way more people than a shotgun could. And it doesn't seem like the devices went off. Maybe he didn't make them right. Maybe, I don't know what was going on. So it doesn't look like they went off. But according to the press conference, all they had was a shotgun and a pistol. And he killed 10 people with them. Now, it may come out, maybe they didn't have all the information there, but you would think that they would give the governor all the pertinent information. And I think being armed with the AR-15 would be one of the things that they would tell us in a news conference. So be careful of the news reporting out there on this, folks, because they don't have all the facts yet. People are jumping to conclusions. I went on Twitter, I went on Facebook, and they have already taken down his Twitter and his Facebook already. Some people caught a few things off of that before they took it down. Daily Wire and a couple other news sources that I trust. There's some things on his clothing. There was postings in Facebook and on Twitter that were just there were photos that were posted, communist, Nazi symbols on a trench coat. And forgive me, I'm just reporting on this. The vice governor of Texas came out and said it was 90 degrees down there, and he's walking in there with a long black trench coat on, and the school is wide open. They don't have one point going in and going out. You know, you could come in at any entrance. They need to, and that's one of the things they were talking about. We need to fortify our schools more, put a pinch point in where everybody has to come in and out of that one pinch point, and make the fire doors, as a lot of schools do. Now, where I grew up in Ohio, Mount Blanchard, not all the outside doors, but a couple of the fire exits, if you went out it, which you weren't supposed to, it set off an alarm. And that would be something that's real easy to do in the schools and fortifying them, that you put alarms on the door, so if an accomplice opens the door from the inside, an alarm goes off so it alerts the resource officer or whoever's there to head for that door. So there's a lot of things that can be done besides taking away people's guns. It's not the gun's fault. And I would just, and this is a little bit of speculation on my part. I'm not saying it's fact or anything. I'm waiting for the news to come out, but I'm afraid we're going to find out that this young man was on some psychotropic drugs, prescription drugs, and that seems to be a common denominator in these school shootings or most of these mass shootings that go on in the country. There's been some studies on it. WND had a good article on it a while back. about this. So, about the relationship between psychotropic drugs that psychiatrists and psychologists and doctors and that prescribe to folks, and these type of mental conditions that lead to these type of mass shootings, or this type of mental derangement, I think. So again, if you haven't heard the news, Santa Fe High School in Texas, outside of Houston, Texas, 10 dead, a whole bunch more that have been injured. And again, it's an ongoing story. I just wanted to get on here and let folks that follow me, just let them know what's going on and what's happening with this. I'm just looking down through here without showing it because the shooter's name's throughout this whole thing, this whole article. Again, the 17-year-old junior was not popular among his classmates. He was often a target. Now, see, this is another thing. Like I said, I'm reading this as you're reading it on the screen here. He was a target of bullying. Students said a Facebook profile removed shortly after the shooting showed images of a black T-shirt with the words "Born to Kill," as well as a trench coat similar to what witnesses said the shooter wore during the attack. A caption on his Instagram page said, "We will all die sometime," according to the Chronicle. In addition, the suspect, a second person of interest, was questioned. The sheriff said both people in custody are students, he added. So it just, again, students say he was not popular among his classmates and was often the target of bullying. And that's exactly what happened with the shooter down in Parkland. He was bullied. Emma Gonzalez said that we bullied him, talking about more than just one student in the student body. They were partly responsible for what happened at Parkland because they bullied him. And they're saying here now that he was a target of bullying. And if he was on some type of antidepressant or some other type of ADD drug, that could have pushed him over the edge. And again, we don't know for sure. I'm just speculating here, but it seems to fit a pattern that's going on here. And the answer is not getting rid of more guns. Getting rid of guns is not the answer because the gun's not at fault. There are underlying reasons why this happened, folks. There really is. And we really, really need to get on the narrative that, get off this, gun control narrative. Got to take the guns away from everybody. That wouldn't have stopped him from throwing these pipe bombs all over the place if they'd went off, which would have been more devastating because of the shrapnel and everything else that a pipe bomb actually does. So if there's any big breaking news that I catch before I leave my office, I'll go on live again and give that to you. But other than that, that's all I have at this time. I encourage you to go over to my channel of choice, One American News Network. They're keeping up with this whole thing about the shooting down in Santa Fe, Texas. You guys have a great rest of the day. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.